there's a forward, there's a backward. We're seeing the inward group right there from Bridget O'Neill. Then they will do a twisting and a reverse. So those are the 5 groups. They have to cover all 5 groups. None of these dives are easy dives. They all carry higher degree of difficulties than the basic dives.
Margot O'Mara from St. Louis.
Hello.
Going to dive at Duke starting in the fall. Basically, she was bred with soccer players.
Can you hear? Should I?
Can you hear? Finals and drops.
Should I put it on the computer? Why is there an echo?
Why is there an echo? Really remarkable progress in a short period of time. And to get to these Olympic trials, and she's only 18 years old, but she's one of the teenagers in this competition.
I'm going to put it on the computer in a second.
Too high and too low get thrown out. The other 3.
It's on CNBC.
Omaha, Nebraska comes Kelly Strong.
Only 2 people get to go to the Olympics.
Only 2 people. To factor into their judging.
Hi,
the
Wolf.
overall impression of the dive, the technique, the grace, which makes up that overall impression, and then the execution.
Thanks, Wolf.
How well did they do the dive technically? Lots of things to consider from 0 to 10 and half-point increments.
500 shy of 50 on that first dive. 19-year-old Ann Bowden.
Why does it say Olympic mpic?
Coaches in Indiana, Drew Johansson, hometown of Burke, Virginia.
Let me fix that. I have to sign into the other account.
Ann Bowden has so many amazing assets in diving. She does a very pretty tough position. The judges can deduct if your knees are outside your shoulders when you're in that tuck position. Feet can be separated a little bit. She misses the dive just a little bit, and if you splash a lot or you're not vertical going in the water, then you'll have 1.5 to 2 point deduction most of the time from each judge for all of those or any point.
Right, here is the senior diver of this competition, Samantha Pickens, 29 years of age, from Murraysville, Pennsylvania, with a Texas now her base.
I'm going to leave that on to see if it fixes the sound.
Samantha Pickens has to spin around 2.5 times as she goes off the board backwards, but spinning forwards. That's called an inward. And yes, there's a lot of details involved in all of these dives. But the judges judge from 0 to 10, and they have to categorize the dives before they add for excellence or subtract for flaws. So there you see the categories, how they might categorize. You saw a 4.5, so that would be deficient category. You see a good 7 to 8, and then you could add extra points for excellence or deduct 0.5 point to 2 points for the flaws.
It's on CNBC. They moved it from NBC. They're still racing on NBC.
10, and they have to categorize the dives before they add for excellence or
all right,
subtract.
let me see. This
so
is actually.
Categories, how they
why is this feed
categorize.
behind the other feed?
You saw a 4.5, so that would be deficient category. You see a good 7 to 8, and then you could add extra points for excellence or deduct 0.5 point to 2 points for the flaws.
I'm going to drink some of my coffee and check the sound. I have Wandering Bear cold brew coffee on the go. Mocha with a splash of coconut milk. Organic. Want to see? Here. It's 2 servings.
Brooke Schultz is the diver. Cynthia, this is legal?
She's taking too long.
But it's legal, correct?
It's legal until the referee says it's not. The referee can alert the diver that you have basically 30 seconds to a minute to do your dive after they alert the diver.
Hello. It's on CNBC. Let me type that in the chat. Hello. Doesn't my hair look great today?
I know she's had a bit of a middle block on that dive in the last year, but if I stood that long, and most divers will say this, they would tighten up just like a golfer standing over their golf shot for such a long time. It's hard not to create tension when you're doing that, and I think that's one of the reasons you see those low scores.
So this is a judge sport. Do judges take that into account?
What's this hi? Bear wants to say hi.
Deduct.
It was over 50 seconds hold it before that dive.
I'll
This is
check.
Abigail Napton from Omaha, University of Nebraska.
Let me see if I can check the sound.
She was known originally as a platform diver and didn't have a platform to work off of at Nebraska during the indoor season when it was cold out. But now she is making her name and has made a name for herself on the springboard. She's a pretty diver, but that dive doesn't get to vertical, and that affects the scores. You're not going to
Can you hear it?
If you don't get near vertical. She was shy of that.
Hey, Cassidy Cook, that was her wearing the bacon.
Can you hear it? I can't tell.
Team was dubbed Cook and Bacon Singer from Indianapolis, Cardinal Ritter High School. Tremendous diver at the University of Minnesota.
Can you hear it?
Third in the World Cup in Tokyo in May.
Can you hear it? Why do you hear an echo? Whoa, I didn't even see that dive.
That we've come accustomed to seeing that she didn't demonstrate in the prelims and the semifinals. That is more typical of what she has been doing to succeed internationally. Completing the rotations, keeping the form. Look at Cassidy Cook cheering for Sarah Bacon. They admit they love each other. They love diving.
Can you hear?
Together. It didn't work out for them this Olympic trials, but wonderful start for Sarah Bacon and a bit of a change.
Excellent start, 75 points. Kristen Hayden, Hillsborough, New Jersey originally.
Cheering for Sarah Bacon.
Both disciplines, the 10-meter and the 3-meter here.
I think you can hear, but I'm not positive. It's hard to...
The diver may proceed. And the judges start judging on that particular dive. The minute the walk commences to the end of the springboard, they take the walk, the jump up in the air to the end of the springboard. And Kristen has really good balance on this particular forward 2.5 with one twist, and that should pay off. This is going to be almost a 70-point dive because of that good balance and timing.
Well, if you want to come hang out on the broadcast,
You're pretty good on that. Just
let me see if I could still see the divers if you want to hang out.
With all of the slow pace of sometimes Allison Gibson just goes.
And I think that's a good thing to do because, you know, how much time do you need to do what you've been practicing over and over and over again? A lot of the divers at the University of Texas do that, including Jordan Wendell, and I think it serves them very well.
From Austin and already going to Tokyo as the synchro champions alongside Krista Palmer. 18-year-old Haley Hernandez from South Lake, Texas. 4 straight years she's won the Texas High School Diving Championship. Off a 1-meter springboard, heading to UT in the fall.
Haley Hernandez is very precise in so many of her dives in mostly in terms of finding vertical straight up and down when she goes in the water. Her tuck wasn't very pretty. That would affect the overall impression or the artistry scores, which the judges do take into consideration.
As well, Cynthia, Haley Hernandez has the lowest degree of difficulty list of the contenders for these Olympic spots.
Should I edit my
So
Facebook?
for example,
It
4
says
point more for Sarah Bacon.
to tell people it's on
Much of that playing
CNBC.
with 26 points.
Of course it will, and can. If
See,
you're comfortable doing the higher degree of difficulty dives, you certainly want to use them because of the multiplication
she already
factor,
dived on my TV.
adding the middle 3 scores together and multiplying times the DD. Krista Palmer has the ability also to find vertical, but she keeps her form as well as anybody I have seen. And the flexibility demonstrated there, laying the chest on the thighs, very impressive. That was not necessarily one of her best ones, and it's still 7th.
I'm going to change it to CNBC.
Mentioned Vicky. We'll learn a little bit more about that.
Achoo!
As the round is done, maintains firm grip, but a little switch there.
Allergies.
Gibson,
On
her
CNBC.
has jumped ahead of Hernandez in the second, and Sarah Bacon's outstanding opening dive helps narrow the gap for her.
Yep.
Share to
Tonight,
news
I'll be
feed.
eating cheesy cauliflower pizza with extra broccolini.
Why isn't it letting me share to my...
Tonight, I'll be eating cheesy cauliflower pizza and yummy broccolini.
Well,
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is that my leotard?
No.
You can keep it.
Cracked windshield. Take one.
You say I got a crack in my windshield.
Lisa, maybe less heartbroken. Geico lets you file a claim online, over the phone, or with their app.
That makes me want to say,
well, can people even see you on that? I have to look.
Are you crying?
There's pollen.
Geico. Great service without all the drama.
Belvita, the dip it, sip it breakfast biscuit. Dip it, zip it. Belvita biscuit. Dip it, sip it. Belvita biscuit. Double dip it, double sip it. Belvita biscuit.
Hello.
Make every morning delicious with Belvita.
Mom.
Tap to pay with Visa. It's that fast. Visa, everywhere you want to be.
Tokyo 2020 is just around the corner. You can feel the magic in the air.
Hold on a second.
Toyota, start your impossible.
Hey, football fans, join me, Peyton Manning, and my brother Cooper as rival colleges go head-to-head in trivia. Your 2-minute drill starts now.
Mexican. Confucius.
Van Gogh. We got a ball game here, Coop.
Yeah! Capital One College Ball premieres June 22nd on NBC.
The French Open. One of sports greats. Krista Palmer dove at the University of Nevada in Reno. Behind her, an incredibly supportive team while she now uses Reno as her training base. And her parents, who made a most interesting midlife course change.
I'm Mitch Palmer,
And I'm Vicki Palmer.
and I drive a semi-truck for Schneider. We are here to see Krista Palmer compete in the 3-meter synchronized events and the 3-meter individual events.
We've been married 36 years, and I don't want to live without him, so I'm on the road with him in the truck, and I absolutely love being with him. Let's go inside. This is our 64 square foot home that we absolutely love. This is our bedroom back here. We have a TV against the back wall over here. We also have some storage. Right here is where I keep my pots and pans. Over here, medical, vitamins, that type thing.
I think the best thing is just the freedom to just be out in the open, out on the road. We get to see a lot of the country.
Yep, they sold up in Carson City and chose that life. They're here in full support. Mitch, we had a chance to chat with him a little bit last night. He was beaming for what Krista has done. Astonishing in that she was a gymnast first and then a trampoliner, and injuries knocked her out of both of those sports. And at age 20 is when she really turned to diving. At age 20.
She made a good choice. Springboard could be considered a cross between trampoline and dance, because you have to use the balance, the rhythm, the artistry, all that timing. And she learned it on the trampoline before she tried diving. She hadn't been diving that long.
This diver deserves an awful lot of credit. Samantha Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
She earned a spot for the United States in the Olympics in this event.
Samantha Pickens went to the World Cup and competed with Sarah Bacon, not in synchro, but individually on the 3-meter springboard to earn the quota spot for the United States. When Cassidy Cook decided she could not go in both events at the World Cup. And kudos, big kudos to Samantha Pickens for getting that spot.
Long shot, certainly right now, to make the Tokyo team, but during the Olympics, that can't be forgotten.
Hello.
Second quota spot for the United States. And Samantha Pickens who earned it.
Woof, you're like covering up the diver hanging out there.
She was a diver at the University of Arkansas, where her dad has been the coach, and her coach, Dan, is moving to South Carolina to be the diving coach there. But Brooke would stay at Arkansas, where she was a business management major.
And I think also business administration and business analytics as well. And she's going to go to graduate school to get a master's in sport administration. I think Dale, her father, would like her to come to South Carolina after she graduates in December from Arkansas. Brooke Schultz doesn't waste any time on her forward 3.5 somersault. If she stood a long time on her inward, she doesn't do that on her forward 3.5. And I want you to see the difference in the score. She only scored 45 points on the dive that she stood so long on. This scores 58 plus points. So we're talking 13 more points right off the bat.
So Schultz is in 7th place. Abigail Napton is in 6th. Same position after round 1 that she started.
And there's a very well-timed hurdle on the end of the springboard. She showed grace in her artistry with her patience. The entry wasn't fabulous, and that's why she won't receive the 7s or above.
Cassidy Cook, 2 people to the right, Sam Dorman, both Rio Olympians. Cassidy Cook partnering with Sarah Bacon when Cassidy Cook came out of retirement to try to make the Tokyo team, and this was the name they very smartly came up with. A little slick bunch of t-shirts passed around.
That's personality plus.
Sarah Bacon, this is her first real chance to make an Olympic team. She competed in the 2016 trials, but she had a bad back injury. She had not but a month. She said, really, she just did it to get the experience.
Well, the first round of this particular contest, she gained a whole bunch of points. She's only just less than 16 points out of 2nd place right now. She over-rotates on that back 2.5 somersault. Looked pretty good off of the springboard. So every aspect of the dive counts until you go underwater. And look what happens here. She unfolds and she has a hard time controlling the entry. Makes a bit of splash. So that is not one of her better back 2.5 somersaults. And there's her longtime coach, Wimbo Chin at the University of Minnesota. They are really good pair together.
Well, that was a big difference. That's a 20-point difference for Bacon. 75 points in her first round dive, 55 on that. So now Kristen Hayden, who has the most interesting story about an auditory processing disorder. It's a hearing disorder.
Mm-hmm.
She, to summarize it, needs eye contact, and she said, I'm a visual learner, even here, to trigger beginning her dive.
I thought what was really interesting about that is she hears things after most people hear them. So when she was being given auditory clues to come out of a dive, to unfold out of a dive, learning new dives, she would hear it later than the coach would signal, and she would splat.
Well, that's an excellent dive. You saw her parents, Kay and Glenn, they are 74-4. That's what lift her back up after she'd slid just a little bit.
That was beautiful. Just gorgeous.
So now Allison Gibson nailed her first round dive, and she jumped into second place.
I think once you make the Olympic team, in this case, in synchronized diving, you can relax and you can use your adrenaline and you can do all kinds of things that you might have had trouble doing if you only had one shot at it and you hadn't made an Olympic team yet. Nice.
Well, you certainly feel that way when you look at Gibson.
Yes.
She's, of every appearance, is exactly what you just outlined.
She's a terrific diver, but now she can say, okay, I can make it in a second if I just relax and do what I know how to do.
That's the challenge for this young diver from South Lake, Texas. From a high school that's renowned for its football, South Lake Carroll High School has got a ton of NFL players. She's been a brilliant diver, and here has
But this dive, a forward 3.5 somersault, less than 3.0 degree of difficulty, is gorgeous. It doesn't score the 70 points that we've seen a couple of other divers score, but there's not a whole lot wrong with that. I'm not sure why it would be given below an 8.
she got 68 total. That's going to leave her likely in third place following Palmer's dive.
Now, you saw the illustrated example of Krista in the open using her visual references. I think that is the main reason why she is so consistent on this dive and a reverse 2.5. She knows exactly where to look and to point her feet before she unfolds out of the dive. She will stay in first place with that because it's a pretty vertical entry, a little bit of splash.
Comfortably in first, and that's will take a miss to impact Krista Palmer's position. Allison Gibson now 8+ points ahead, and Sarah Bacon's road became much tougher after that second round. She falls back to 5th. Are we going to have a double of the synchro and the individuals? 3 rounds left.
Okay, if you want to watch, it's on CNBC, and then it's going to be on NBC at 5 Eastern, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. It's probably tape delayed back to the West Coast, but you can probably watch it on NBC Sports app at 5 Pacific. Okay. Well, say goodbye to the people.
Chicken. The Naked Chicken Chalupa, only at Taco Bell.
Goodbye.
This Wednesday, be the first to see the Hit Wife's body.